Yo, 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 mistrade, HFR from the floor. It's marketvitals.io. Firmly in the matrix, Matt, right?
Red pill.
Everybody's in the matrix here.
Everybody's red pill, blue pill. Yep.
I missed that red pill. I didn't get it right.
That's from the Matrix.
Thirsty Thursday, please, right now, if you're watching, please share this, share the episode here. I scream and yell it at the end. I don't know what good that does. We're already through. Share it right now. Call in grandma and grandpa, get the dog, sit them down. We're going to talk price discovery. And Matt, we always talk about a few other things, right? It's like a pit conversation, right? When things were slow in the pit, and the crosswords and Sudokus were all done, you had to talk about something, man.
And when you're in a trend day like we are today, it's one of the, these are the most boring trading days until they break. And I'm just waiting for it to break, but it still hasn't.
Matt is waiting patiently.
But and I'm just talking about the spoos. But GME, how about it, Bob? I mean, right back to the level, like to a T, right to the first level of 62.
Throttled.
And they're still, I was hopping on the board just to see what the holders were saying. They're still like, they're all pissed at each other now at the water cooler, right? They're all like, I told you to hold, motherfucker.
You sold. It was all your fault.
No, it was all your fault.
Let me tell you
22,
something.
Your 22 shares of GameStop crushed us.
There's something to be said for the mush, right?
Idiot.
It's got to be.
By the way, I'd like to see Melvin Capital's numbers today, 1 week later.
Right, exactly.
60% gain from 15% loss.
What was the movie where they're all at the racetrack and they're going with the horses? A Bronx Tale, right?
Oh, great movie.
And they're cheering their horse, and then the mush comes out with this ticket, and he starts cheering the same horse, and they all turn and look at each other, rip their tickets up, and walk. One of my greatest trades of all time, I was stuck on an error in the Mexican peso, and a trader not to be mentioned who was the mush bid and got hit on some size that they never traded, right? And I was really actually very nervous, like, man, this is a blowout type error I'm sitting on.
Yeah.
And you want to see a blood pressure come down when the mush joins the fray and saves the day for you. Anyway, Matt, let's talk about some of the craziness that's going on in the world.
Sure.
This, along with the Civil Liberties Union in America and the U.S. of A., right? Fully saying that men and women are the same. It's beyond crazy where this is going. And I thought that this was apropos, and I couldn't find my response to this because I thought it was very, very good. But this was an actual tweet, all right? Men, we must normalize for men crying, sharing, and caring, showing emotions, seeking help, and sharing feelings. It's unreal.
Can we also get like number 6 in there and get vaccinated estrogen shots? I mean, is that what's next?
I said, why don't we add men should be able to see 20 more colors of red, 20 more shades of red, when actually we can't. I mean, it's a physical impossibility. I don't know. I don't get this whole thing, man. I just don't get it.
I don't get those. Like, I'd like to literally have a conversation with those that believe this, because I don't. I mean, how? I mean, how are they the same?
There's a great Mythbusters episode, and I go to science, and I like the guys at Mythbusters, right? Because they actually go to science. Right. And it was just, hey, listen, man, we're not the same. Our brains are wired differently. Anyway, Matt, I found this. And by the way, this was because yesterday was National Women and Girls in Sports Day, right? A fantastic day to have and to celebrate. And I don't know, I'll just bring up the headline because this was from 2017, Matt. The FC Dallas under 15 boys squad beat the U.S. women's national team in a scrimmage 5-2. And believe me, I love women, this has nothing to do other than this is pure craziness to say that these two, the genders are the same. They're just not. And I don't get where this goes to. Like,
Well,
if the prepubescent boys or mid-pubescent boys, 14, 13, 14, they're under 15, Matt, 12 to 14-year-olds can beat the women. It's just, I mean, it speaks for itself. Come on, man. If you
well, it's
had
like, again, it's like,
to wrestle a boy, it's just insane.
or you really don't want Austin P to be playing the Lakers. They're not going to compete ever. They can play 100 times and they won't win. In basketball, it's the same thing. It's like there's a different skill level here, and it has nothing to do with anything but pure biology. That's simple as that.
And back to the humorous side of it. How many guys out there have been at the Home Depot and the gal has the color wheel and she's like, which red do you like better? And you're like, it's the same fucking color. There's no difference between them. And she's like, of course there's a difference between them. Look at these colors. They're different. You're like, I am not seeing this. I don't know. It's crazy.
Red pill.
All right, listen. We're going to talk a little. We got to bring in Joe and his big fish story because this encapsulates, for me, politics. I mean, it's just perfect. Joe's telling everybody about his fishing trip and how the fish was this big, and in actuality, it was Nemo. We all tell these big fish stories, but politicians seem to be able to do it in spades. And I just wanted to, because we're going to talk a little bit of energy here. And again, the age of hypocrisy on this whole thread. And here's John Kerry defending himself for the use of his private jet to go get a climate award. And he's saying it's the only choice for somebody like me.
If you watch that video, you literally are throwing up. You need buckets around you because you're like, are you serious? Do you really believe? Do you believe this? Because nobody else does. I mean, I can't believe he actually goes on camera and says this stuff. Like, it's unbelievable. It is literally the Matrix. When you watch this, you're like, what?
I mean, and then our friend Shy Girl,
you're looking for the water bucket to be dropped over your head. And, it's like candid camera or something. You're like, really?
And again, too, because when we go to the facts, about climate, again, our friend Shy Girl pointing out, China, watch what they do, not what they say. Again, why are we in this thing where we know they're not going to live up to their bargain on it, right?
Right.
It's insane. Yeah. And here we go. China put 38.4 gigawatts. I think that's enough for the flux capacitor to get us to time travel for sure, right?
Right.
Of new cold fire power capacity into operation in 2020. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I can't even go on about it. The ridiculousness is brutal, Matt. It's. By the way, do they trade coal futures anywhere? Because
I think they do. I think
we need to be.
I think they're traded on the ICE just with the other energy products, actually, Bob. So.
And then to finish off the age of ambiguity and ridiculousness, this was by far one of the best ones that I saw on. There's an axe man at my door, and my life is in danger. AOC, the Alexandria Ocasio-Smollett. When you see that trending, you're onto a good day.
Yeah, man, it's insane.
Matt,
it is insane.
One last one that I brought up that you shared. Again, national minimum wage mandatory because everybody in all localities are the same. Therefore, we can just mandate this. And this one was even more ridiculous because it was hazard pay that they just decided that the municipality could tack on hazard pay, overstepping the grocer and the union who they negotiate diligently with. Everybody understands it's a razor thin margin game. And so now, since they passed it, all right, good luck finding, driving let's save the planet, by the way, because now we all have to drive further to get to the grocery store. The whole thing.
And those were in Long Beach, which are very, very, populated areas. So they were in Long Beach, Cali, and Kroger just said, yeah, we're done. We're closing those stores. Enjoy. It's not worth it for us. There's no margin in this business already. Now you've just taken away everything. We're in big negative. We can't afford it. We can't make it up in volume.
All right, Matt, but everything's okay. Let's go to some price discovery because everything is fine. It's du jour. Market du jour.
Market du jour. I think what's interesting today is that folks still believe, like a week later, and I don't know, 90% lower when it comes to, like, I'm going to bring up some of these names, Bob, but the obvious one here is, GameStop. And it, again, this thing, as we talked about, was most of the upward moves were margin situations. They were mechanics of the market here, 1, 2, 3 days of that. And then once that was over, we had 2 more days where they were shaking them out. The weekend shorts. This is always the way it happens. It falls down, it goes up like a rocket, down like a recent SpaceX rocket, crashes, and then takes off again, only to squeeze the last few out who are weak-handed in their shorts, and then from there it's over, right? And that's where we are right now. We're in the over stage. I wouldn't,
like you said, coming in. Where are the headlines and how much money was made on the shorts?
Where's CNBC talking about how much money Melvin and Point72 have made now, because that's reality. I just want to throw up a couple more of these. And I can throw up 6 stocks and tell you these 6 stocks made most of these hedge fund managers years, and we're just into February. Cost Corp was another one, right? It went from nothing to $172 back to $19 today. AMC. Okay, went from as high as 26 in that pre-market that day, and then now it's back to $7, and it's been actually back into the just about 5. It got to 6 right on the button there. BlackBerry. If we're going, I can't even believe it's still a company. They have nothing to do with Blackberries anymore. I know they've totally shifted, but this thing went up to $28, and it's back to 12. If this doesn't teach you, and these are all bankrupt, they're all basically walking dead companies anyways. So this is what you need to understand fundamentally. You shouldn't be chasing. Or if you are trading for the chase, get the hell out when you have profits. Best Buy, went up to 57, haircut back to 27, and it's going to go back to 20 where it was. And probably lower from there. On and on we go. Fizz was another one. These stocks were great paydays for the deep pocketed, patient people who can.
Yeah, and let's be honest, you needed big money to participate.
You do, but it's very doable, and especially if you can get 2.9, 1.8, and a couple tranches from Stevie Cohen, you're fine. Matter of fact, he's already been paid back. And their capital has gone from $9 billion. It might have gone down to 5. Now it's gone from 9 to 15, and he's been paid back, by the way.
For sure, and nobody's covering that.
It's like a reverse Warren Buffett deal. Like, oh yeah, we'll lend to you because we know we're going to get paid for sure. We know how this game works.
The one that I saw on all of these was the one hedge fund that had 5% of their stuff in GME long I don't even think it had anything to do with.
They just happened to be there.
It just happened to be there. They made $700 million.
Yeah. Close up for the year.
We're done for the year. Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yep. Exactly. And by the way, believe me, there's going to be a lot of skiing and golfing going on for these people because that's what you do. Why would you give your year back?
Yeah. The other thing that I found really interesting, and we've been talking about it pretty, regularly, is gold. And we said, watch that 800 level. It's going to break 1800. It broke and that 1820, and it broke, and we whooshed not quite to the recent lows. I think we were trading, 1766. Yeah. a little bit earlier, but this is a solid downtrend. Like, we stay in it, and that one day, again, one day does not make a trend. We only fell out of that range for one day, and then from there it's been, but right to the top of profile. So profile always trumps anything else in my book. And this was a great sell up in here in the mid 1900s, and sure enough, we're down $200 already on gold. Silver, by the way, the other, these guys thought they could shave and shape the silver markets. Also, don't forget that has not worked out very well either. So silver is back. Hang on one second. I just want to bring that up. Again, hasn't really done much, but it went from 30, that was the peak up here, made a marginal new high from last summer, and then failed again. So, and again, this to me looks like it wants to go back to 24 and a half. Hey, if you want to buy silver, that might be a good area, 24 to 23. And if it starts getting below 22 and a half, you're wrong. But it's
Matt, you're absolutely right. And here's another thing to keep in mind. If somebody's telling you that is not a trader, that this is the thing you got to be in, you're probably wrong. By the time it trickles to there, and then please pull up a chart. I mean, I plead with people, open a TradingView account. It's free. It's free. And you can do you can do a little bit of price discovery or analysis. I think TradingView is great, by the way, for that.
I agree.
And I mean, arm yourself a little bit. I mean, when you look at some of these valuations where they are, it's like and believe me, I think this is accurate. It is like, give me the greatest hitter of all time.
Ty Cobb. Pete Rose.
It's like Ty Cobb has gone 3 seasons getting a hit every game, right? He's batting infinity. Like, he's not going to keep batting infinity. It's impossible.
Unless he's taking the red pill.
What's that?
Unless he's taking the red pill.
Well, exactly. In the Matrix, you can do whatever you want. It blows me away.
This was another one that popped up yesterday, Cassava, and it peaked overnight, again, after hours. And it's the same mechanics, right? It closed right here at around 81 after trading just last week at 20. So 4X, that prompted, again, a margin call situation. And that's what this is. You go from 80 to 120, right? That's 50%. Basically, probably took out the shorts they needed to take out, allowed. And again, this was a great re-entry. If you didn't, if you can't trade overnight, this was a great entry on the open. Just the opening little bounce kind of to the belly here, which again gave you a stop above. But if you sold that thing went from 120, Bob, all the way down to traded into the 60, 64, 65. So a 50% haircut, just like that. And again, it's the same situation. People are jumping on a story. It's a biotech company. It's been around for a while. And again, it's had a history of trading up here. But I mean, this is just, I mean, when I see charts like this, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, just look at it. So yeah, it's traded at 184 when it went public in 2006, or excuse me, 2000, November of 2000. So this, I mean, again, this thing was on the slow train to death. And somebody decided to drop some news and take advantage of the GME fest, I guess, that's going on. But it's not going to last again. It's going to come back here to 12, and it's trading at 70. So if you were fortunate enough to own this thing back in the teens, by all means, you still have profits. Take them. It's not going back to 126.
Guaranteed, probably.
Not today, at least.
Listen, that's our disclaimer. Everything that we say, we guarantee probably. Right?
Yeah.
Do your research, make your own trading decisions. Be careful. Trading is dangerous, or you can live in a van down by the river.
More importantly, understand the mechanics, understand the rules, understand, there's a reason why, and I talk about this all the time. There's a reason why I don't play poker. I prefer, if I'm going to play card games, I'd rather play poker with my buddies. But I don't want to go sit down in rooms, and it's the most boring game ever. The only reason you like watching it,
Matt, we just lost all our poker player friends.
That's fine. It's just a boring game, and I don't, I'm not much of a, fake bluffer, fake news guy. You know, that's a huge part of the game and luck. And I don't really like that part of it. But the point being, it's you know, if you don't understand the rules, you're obviously going to be the shill at the table. And like I still talk to these kids. They want to blame like these kids that have lost money. You know, it's going to 1,000. I'm like, well, it got to 500. Good for you. If you bought it at $5 and you spent $100, take your 500 and call it a good trade, because that's unbelievable. What's the difference? What does 1,000 mean? What does that mean? It's just another,
you know, exactly. And we talked about that the mechanics are the mechanics. Basically what they did is that they had to borrow money and or find a bag holder that was willing to short it, that had more margin capability than the guy that was getting squeezed.
right. And they did.
Squeezes happen all the time. I mean, come on. Speaking of squeezes, Matt, our old friend S&P land. This is my 610 chart. I told you I love the 610, and now firmly sideways here, but really never closed out of this momentum line. Right? I love them, and this is what I like about standard deviation analysis. It traded sideways, but it held the momentum until a point where we have expanding potentiality versus collapsing potentiality on that upper band. John Bollinger, one of the greatest, by far, as far as I'm concerned, the greatest thought guy out there, right? Because he took a mathematical equation, and I don't know when standard deviations were found out, like who invented standard deviations, right? But it's got to go pretty far back in the history of mathematics. Matt, that's, you know, it's in your name, Matthew, mathematics. Okay. And the guy took it and he actually trademarked it, right? And now standard deviation, his protocol are called Bollinger Bands. Congratulations, John Bollinger. Awesome job.
Right.
One thing that is missing there, though, is the momentum component. The Bollinger Bands are just that exhaustion level, right? Yep. And I like to look at the momentum component of it. It's like when the hot batter's hot, he's going to stay above one standard deviation. Matt, when he's cold, he's below that. And I mind the mo. I mind that standard deviation analysis, whether something's hot or cold. And then by all means, if you're not taking profits at collars, you're a pig. That's all I got to say about it.
Yeah, and then you combine that with your market profile there for the year, Bob, and I don't see much. That's the other side of it is.
Well, wait a second, though. So you're right. This is the profile for the year.
Yeah, so I just see.
You're right. We haven't broken out for you.
All I see is we're locked into a 200-point range. That's great.
For you, we haven't taken this out. If we take these highs out, though, you agree that 37.42, let's call it.
But again, I don't chase new highs. I am not I'm a fader of new highs generally, because
I get it. But
that's how it works.
Matt, have you ever been wrong?
Oh yeah, every day.
Okay. Yeah. My point is that easily, if we start making new highs, if we're going to match that body, right, from so far, we got another 100 handles higher. That's all I'm saying. Sure. The symmetry of it.
Anything's possible.
Everything is possible in the matrix. Matt, let me come back here because I want to do the intro correctly, and we'll see how I do it today, Matt. I got about a 4% confidence level on me coming into crypto. Unreal. I'm so bad at this. I'm frozen. Come on. Technology's killing me. It's killing me.
Let's talk a little crypto.
Let's talk crypto, Matt. And I have one of those stories, Matt. And then by all means, the coin that I'm going to talk about first, we mentioned that in crypto price discovery, right? There's multiple places for price discovery. Now, almost all of these exchanges, right, have the big 3 or 4, right? They have Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin. They used to all have XRP here in North America. But then if you want to, obviously the crypto landscape is far and wide. There's thousands of coins now, and you can't have price discovery, or there is not price discovery of every coin on every exchange. Therefore, you need to, if you like a story, you got to find out where there's actually price discovery for it. And OKCoin is one of those places that I do some of my trading at, Matt. And I wanted to share how sometimes, Matthew, you make money and then you leave money on the table. And that's why it's called trading, right? And the one that I had pointed out.
You can alphabetize those much easier.
This comp. I mean, this thing, moonshotted, man. And I had it around the $250 level.
I call that the
Greg really started to go parabolic here.
You know what I call that chart? That's the Greg Louganis chart.
Well, why is that?
Well, you see that diving board, the red, the point of control there. It was.
Yeah, this was from
boing.
Yeah.
4 days of bouncing around.
Sideways, and it came right to and respected again. What did it respect? Respected the momentum level.
Yes.
All right. Mind the mo.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but eventually Greg Louganis comes back into the pool. Let's just say that.
Greg Louganis does come back in the pool, and I am actually working 350 area. So $100 haircut from here. I want to jump back in.
So Bob, do you do that with a stop? Do you trade with the stop, or how do you just
no? So this I'm looking to re-enter on a pullback.
I got you.
It's just a limit order.
Gotcha. At what level?
352, Matt. I'm working 352 is just above that point of control.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what's that? That's like $120 off. That's a serious sale. I wouldn't. It's hard for me to buy there.
In crypto land, this is what you have to be prepared, though. I mean,
see it.
These type of things go on sale all the time. Let's fractal in a little bit. 144 again, just beautifully holding here.
Yep.
I'm fairly sure I sold 396s after being long down around 2 something, and this candle for sure I did not like. Into the collar, closing where it opened. Then opening below the momentum level here. And again, if you're not going to be at the con, you got to make decisions, Matt. You got to just make decisions. Like, I'm not going to be at the con. This is showing some weakness. I got good profits in it. I'm taking my money and I'll try to reestablish later.
Or you put your sell stop in.
When you lose the money, and we've talked about this before, psychologically as a trader, right? The losses they're 6 times more painful than the wins, right? And so you win, you get a little pat on the back, right? You lose, your buddy gets to slug you in the shoulder 6 times as hard as he can. So that's the nuance of trading.
Hey, Bob, let's take a look at on your chart there. Let's look at the VIX. I want to see where that's come back to.
Right on.
Because it's down to 22 and it traded.
You know what? This is delayed though. I don't get CBOE.
That's all right. That's fine.
I'm a sham artist.
It's not. I mean, it's trading 22. I just want to see, like, because it spiked almost to 40. I want to see kind of what.
Well, here, let's go to the. On the 3-day, it's just right back where it had been putting in these lows.
I like it here. I like to be long.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And we could go back to some of the other things that we have about 9 days worth of screen snapshots, right, of stuff going on, and the saber rattling going on between China and Taiwan. Very interesting geopolitically, right? So this seems to me to be some pretty cheap insurance for something not to go perfectly right going forward here.
Speaking of things not going perfectly right, let's take a look at Doge, because that's back up 33% today. It's back in play. When you're trading 5 cents.
Come on, let's bring it down. I don't like this at all, because on the shorter time frame, you're going to continue fighting the collar, Matt. And you know what? And here's the problem with it, because it can go retest the double top, right? Which I for sure want to be taking profits at on the double top. My problem with it is if you're not going to be at the con, there's you're up 33, you could be down 50 like that in these things. So.
Hey, the other thing I wanted to talk about a little bit was, we kind of touched on it yesterday. Let the kids play sports, right? Let them go back to school. We're both on board on that pitch. I saw a tweet yesterday with a player. Do you have that available that you could pull up? Just a little commentary on where we are. Do you have that? The kid down in Cali who, was just talking about, his year.
I don't have it into the broadcast software, Matt. Sorry.
Okay.
Where did you share it?
In the Market Vitals. I shared it with you. So anyways, the point was, these kids who have aspirations to go to college, and for many, especially in the big, football, basketball, sports, this is your opportunity. Your really sophomore, junior year, senior year is the time you sign. But if nobody saw you play in the last 2 years, it gets really, like, I got to imagine you're going to see some volatility come into college sports, particularly because the players aren't being recruited at the prime ages that they need to be recruited because they're not playing pretty much nationally, especially when you look at a state like California. I mean, it's got a tenth of your population. So, I mean, that is a factory for sports. And I don't care what your sport is, whether it's, lacrosse, whether it's football, whether it's basketball, these kids are not getting the opportunity, Bob, to play. And this is really an unfortunate thing, I think, for culture, I think for society. And, we talked about it yesterday. The Ivy Leagues basically haven't played sports in a year. That to me speaks volumes about your leadership. And as a academic institution, it's about the whole person. It's not just about studying, in my opinion. It's about the network that you build. It's about the people you meet, the differences of opinion, and playing athletics and doing extracurriculars is really, one of the legs of the stool that go along with the social side and go along with the academic side. And, it's a balance for sure. And I think having that balance for kids and being able to do those things, whether it's Glee Club, whether it's playing football, whether it's playing lacrosse, is just I think that is something that, I think people should be raising their hands and really, if you want to get active, let these kids play. I mean, I really, really believe in that. And I think it's a sham that these kids aren't able to play.
Let them play. Come on.
Let them play.
All right, Matt. That's what I got today. I had a nice couple of runs up on Mount Bachelor, super steep, super fast. I've ventured over to the Northwest lift for the first time of the year.
Nice.
And let me see my watch. I don't know how fast I was going, but I was going ridiculous speed. Right?
I bet you're going 40 to 50.
Colonel Sanders. Turn it up.
Brain bucket.
What's the matter, Colonel Sanders? Chicken? Anyway, Matt. Listen, please share the video, share the podcast as we put it up on the podcast places. Please join our growing community, Matt. I want to welcome 2 new members, right? 2 new, Alex and David. Thank you. And Asif, 3 new, and Vincent, 4 new members at marketvitals.io. Join the network. Share your wins and losses and your learning curve, and we can all become better traders. That's what we're building here.
Amen, Bobby. Amen.
All right, pal. You have a great day.